Yo, 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 G5 Jeff TV. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button as you come on in. Got another live for you today. For the people that's new to the channel, this is something that we're doing on a regular basis. You know, it's one thing to do the regular videos, but I feel like we just hit home with things when we get on live, man. So, the lives definitely be lit. So big had to put the block on real quick, my bad. But we got a real good topic for you today. You're not gonna find this topic in too many places. But Joshua Buatsi, he just fought on Sunday, got a TKO victory, but it was a tough fight. Like it was a tough fight. I was swollen and puffy, and he had to battle through some adversity. You know what I'm saying? And he had to figure some things out to get the victory. But whenever you mention Joshua Buatsi, you think of Anthony Yarde. You know, hopefully they'll get in the ring at some point during their career, and they'll always be linked. They'll always be linked. Now, will they ever fight? Who knows? I think it'll be a great fight, but is Joshua Buatsi and Anthony Yarde ready for title fights? Are they ready for world titles? Like right now, are they ready for world titles? Anthony Yarde is 20-1 with 19 KOs. We all know he took his loss to Sergey Kovalev. He went to Sergey Kovalev hometown. Um, Sergey Kovalev kind of, like outclassed him in a sense, but when you're fighting on the road against a guy like that, all you can ask for is an opportunity to get him up out of there. And that's what he had in the eighth round. You know what I'm saying? In the eighth round of that fight, he had an opportunity to get Sergey Kovalev up out of there, and he was unable to do it. So, he ended up getting knocked out. And the last blow that he took was a jab. You know what I'm saying? It was a jab. He ran into a jab trying to come in with a lead left hook and got knocked out. But, Anthony Yarde has fought two times since then. One was a definite tune up, and his last fight was recently. It was last month, and he got a TKO victory in that fight. So there's still questions on whether Anthony Yarde is world class, world level, and is he ready for a world title? And Joshua Buatsi, he's 13-0, 11 KOs. Now, he was on the shelf for about, I think, about a year. I think he was on the shelf for about a year. And, he came back and he had a tough fight. He had a tough fight, but he did what he had to do. He could have had a tough fight and lost. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that he didn't, and that's the most important thing for Joshua Buatsi. But we got VP Shane should be in here any minute, and then we have a special guest as well. So definitely looking forward to them two tapping in to this live. Big shout out to everybody to show love to G5 Jeff TV. Um, the big homie's not on here, BoxingFirst Vlog, but big shout out to him. Big part of the channel, big part of the movement. And go check his channel out as well. BoxingFirst Vlog on YouTube. He's on Instagram, TikTok, you name it, he's on it. So go show him some love, and go subscribe to his channel. Go check his videos out. We're trying to get him to trying to get him to 1,000 subs so he can be monetized and all that other good stuff. So let's go support the big homie. But I think this is a relevant topic because it's 175 pounds, and 175 pounds got some major players in it. Artur Beterbiev, I feel like he's the best 175 pounder in the world. Dmitry Bivol, one of the most consistent fighters in the sport. VP Shane and I talk about this all the time, but he's the most accurate puncher in the sport. And then, you have guys like Jean Pascal. You have Badu Jack, Joe Smith, who looked hella good, and he's set up for a world title shot. So 175 is popping. 175 is one of my favorite divisions, by far. And Anthony Joshua and I said Anthony Joshua, Anthony Yard, Anthony Yard and Joshua Buatsi. They're definitely in the mix, but they're young pups, and they're in between the hey, we're ready for the world title fight, and some guys actually doubting their ability, doubting their skill. I know I got into it with a couple people on Twitter about Anthony Yard when he fought Sergey Kovalev, and a lot of people felt like Anthony Yard wasn't ready, felt like he was outclassed, felt like he didn't fight enough competition to prepare him for a Sergey Kovalev. And listen, you can definitely make that case. You could definitely make that case, but the fact that he took the fight, number one, is huge. He took the fight. He took the fight in Kovalev's hometown. Not a lot of people are gonna do that. Not a lot of people are gonna do that. A lot of promoters, a lot of managers would guide their fighters against that. You know what I mean? But he went out there. He went out there, and he went out there to win. He went out there to win, and like I said, he had his opportunity um, to get Kovalev up out of there, and he just couldn't do it. And there was so much criticism that came from just fans, and it was like, oh well, he shouldn't have emptied the tank in the eighth round, and his trainer don't train him the correct way. When you lose, you have a lot of uh, you know, Monday morning quarterbacks that come out, and a lot of questions and things of that nature. So that's what happens after a loss. And no matter if you are a domestic level fighter, if you are a gatekeeper, if you a contender, if you a champion, if you take a loss, people are going to question everything that you did prior to the fight and during the fight. That's just how the sport goes. Like, I think boxing has the smallest margin for error out of any sport in the world. In basketball, you have 7-game series in the playoffs. You can make a mistake and come back. With the NFL, even though a single game elimination, but there's so many things that can happen during the course of a game where you can correct the mistake. Um, Baseball, you got 9 innings, you got 7-game series, you can correct a mistake. Boxing and MMA are the only two sports really where one mistake can just cost you, and nobody cares how you feeling. Nobody cares, what your situation is prior to the fight. When they see you step in those ropes and step inside the ring, like, they're expecting to see the best version of you. And if they don't see it, then the criticism's coming. And nobody takes more punishment after a loss than a boxer. You know what I'm saying? So I have a high level of respect for not only Joshua Buatsi, but Anthony Yard and all the rest of the contenders out there that's trying to get the world championship status. Because we're in an era now where if you have a loss, people look down on you. You have one bad night, people look down on you. You know what I'm saying? So, um, let me check and see what the guest at, man. The guests are supposed to be in here already. Hold on a second. Yeah, my bad, y'all. My bad. Um, was looking to see where the guest was. The guest ain't around. You know what I'm saying? But do I think they're ready for world titles? Um, you know what I'm saying? It's up for debate. We got Will Stokes in the building. Said all right, just wrapping something up over here quick, then should be good to go. Um, okay, cool. Will Stokes is gonna be on this live. I don't know where VP Shane is. Usually I'm the one that's late. But he's the one that's late today, but it's all good, you know what I'm saying? Um Out of the two, I like Anthony Yard a little more than Buatsi. Me personally. Um I think Yard's ceiling is a little higher. It's not by much, but I think his ceiling is a little bit higher. Like I kind of took the positives out of the Sergey Kovalev fight. It takes a different type of person to step in there with Sergey Kovalev. And he didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to at all. It was his VP Shane. Hold on.
Sorry I took so long. I've been busy, still I can't lie. But what's up?
Man, hey, listen, man. We got VP Shane in the building. For once I beat him in a live. Usually he's the one that's ready and I'm the one running late all the time.
Now you know how it goes. Have you started? Have you started without me? Have you started without me?
I've been on for about 10 minutes, good brother.
Sorry. Have you actually been going in?
We good. Listen, man, for all the times I've been late, I can't complain. You know what I'm saying?
Have you what actually started the topic?
Yeah, I actually started the topic. Will said he's gonna be in a couple minutes. He said he's wrapping something up.
I just sent him the link. Just now.
Yeah, I sent it to him too. So we're gonna have Will Stokes on. So Shane, give me your initial thoughts on when Will gets on, I'll let you take the narrative over, kind of take over the live. But just out of Anthony Yard and Buatsi, who do you think has the higher ceiling? Like who do you like more?
Oh, Yard by far. And I don't want to get too far into it because it's going to give away the narrative of what my whole entire points. But Yard by far, purely and simply because of the fact that I feel like his schooling is much better. I know Buatsi went through the amateur setup and the Olympics and stuff like that, but we know just through previous fighters that it's more than just the amateur setup. It's actually what you're learning, and you can tell that Yard picks up things faster, and he's got a much better environment in terms of just actually learning. You know, I feel like there's people around him who's willing to teach him certain aspects of the game that I feel like is important, which I feel like gives him the higher ceiling. And plus, I feel like physically and athletically, he's probably the better fighter. He got much more of the advantages.
Yeah, I've for the people that's listening, I've never talked to Shane about who he likes more between Anthony Yard and Buatsi. Of course, he said the same answer I said. I told him, I think it was Saturday. I told him, I said, I think somebody copied my boxing brain and just gave it to him. Like that's how much me and him think alike when it comes down to boxing. But I said a couple minutes before you came on that I liked Anthony Yard as well. I think his ceiling is a little bit higher, and I think physically, I just think he has more to bring to the table. Buatsi's good. He's good. I just think Yard is more polished.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you would say that. I'm a big fan of Buatsi, but I'm not a fan of his environment and his schooling. Again, when Will Stokes gets on, I feel like it's going to be much better of a narrative. But I want to explain the narrative and what I'm talking about because what you got to look at, Yarde and Buatsi, it's not just Yarde and Buatsi. You got to look at the whole entire landscape of British boxing and the British prospects. If you look at the American prospects that's coming up, Shakur, Jerome Boots Ennis, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, a lot of these guys who are coming, Ryan Garcia, a lot of these guys who are coming through the ranks, they're coming under a certain system. So you can see certain things, certain trends, and you can see where they're falling short, where they're coming up, and where they're strong. It's like when the last crop of British fighters were coming through, I could see where they were falling short and where they were coming strong. And it's just, I don't want them to make the same mistakes that the previous generation made when it comes to reaching that really elite level, that top level, the cream of the crop. You know, when there's fighters make it to world title level, but they don't make it to elite. You know, pound for pound Hall of Fame.
Right.
A lot of British fighters don't make it and don't take that next step to where you look at the likes of Terence Crawford or Lomachenko or you know, Canelo, those guys, you know, where they can be world champions, but then there's another level. There's another level where you're starting to look at all-time great and ATG, you know, and there's not much that's come of that crop, you know.
Yeah, and this just to add on to that, there's a lot of fighters from the UK that they're really great on a domestic level. They're great on a domestic level, and I think when you get to the world class level, it's kind of like a shock. Like it's a shock to
but
them.
but again, I don't know. In fact, I might as well just start from now, and then as Will comes on, we'll just start to talk more about what I'm talking about now. But when you talk about shock, yeah, this is the problem that I have. I don't feel like enough fighters are getting the right training and putting the right learning fights moving forward. That's the problem. Go on, bro.
No, you good. Good.
Yeah. I literally put myself on mute for a second.
Yeah, I see. Go ahead, do your thing, bro.
Yeah, so I don't feel like they're getting enough learning fights. I don't feel like they're going through enough of the learning to actually pick up the right things on the way up. Like, to me, not a lot of these fighters are defensively good enough. Not a lot of these fighters are defensively good enough. And you brought up a good point about domestic level. People feel like you have to go through the domestic level to then go to world level. It's just about fighting the right fights. So people look at Callum Smith, for example, and see him as an elite fighter because he's got world titles. But to me, he's only fought British level fighters. So he can't be elite if you've only fought British level fighters. You see my point?
Correct.
And that's the problem that I'm having with a lot of these fighters. That there's a big misconception.
Yeah, because Callum Smith is not. I think that's the main reason why he's not on my pound for pound list. You know, I like Callum Smith, but it's the level of competition that he hasn't faced, which stops me from putting him on any list of mine. And I like Callum Smith.
Bro, I'm gonna go outside because I'm literally around so much people. 1 second.
All right, it's cool. It's cool. You can still hear me, right?
Keep going.
Okay. So with Callum Smith, I think Callum Smith has fought, you know, basically all domestic level fighters. And the thing about that is I think when he does step up to the world class level, it's gonna be a shock for him. I mean, there's some people that thought he lost a John Ryder fight. You know, it's a tight fight, you know, but it almost seemed like he was shocked in that fight. And Ryder is not world class.
But this is the thing though. This is the problem. You look at all of these fighters, okay, and this is the biggest issue that we have in British boxing. Now, there's this big misconception that British boxing is the best boxing in the world, and it's a lie. We don't produce the best fighters. We don't produce the best trainers. We might produce the most entertaining fights, but don't let entertainment. And we might have very entertaining fans as well, like fans who will pay their money and stuff like that. Don't let that cloud your judgment. When was the last elite fighter from Britain? When was the last? Right now, we probably got Fury and maybe Taylor. and probably Taylor. That's the only one you can give. Everybody else hasn't beaten elite fighters. I can go through the list. When Yarde stepped up, he lost at elite level. When Callum Johnson stepped up, he lost at elite level. When Luke Campbell stepped up, he lost at elite level. When Rocky Fielding stepped up, he lost at elite level. When Bellew stepped up, he lost at elite level. When Josh Kelly stepped up, he lost. And all of those guys I mentioned, they to me, they've been put on a pedestal, but they've been hung up to dry. None of these guys have actually been prepped for the right for elite level, because as you said, they've been gone through the domestic phase and they actually haven't been prepared well enough. Because you look at it, and it's the same thing with Ricky Hatton back in the day when you had Ricky Hatton and you had Carl Froch and all of these guys like Carl Frampton and stuff like that. Whenever they stepped up, they lost. None of these guys ever stepped up and ever won at elite level. Ricky Burns is the same thing. None of these guys ever stepped up and won at elite level. That's the problem.
Yeah, those are great points. I haven't seen a great fighter come out of the UK. Like, you see a lot of good ones. You see a lot of good ones, but you see very few that get to the elite level. And I'll touch on what you were saying as far as them being schooled properly and the proper fights. Matchmaking is 90% of the game. Like, you know that. It's 90% of the game. If you don't give your guy the proper fights at the proper time, when it comes time for them to get under those lights and they're fighting for world championships, they're like a deer in headlights. Like, they don't know what to do. But if you prep your fighters correctly and you give them the right fights, then they won't be like that. But managers are scared. Managers and promoters are scared to make certain fights that make their fighter better.
But bro, it's more than fair. Can you hear me, or is it frozen?
Go ahead.
It's more than fair, because when I spoke to the guys at BT Sports when it was coming down to the Yarde, when it comes down to controlling Yarde's career, the narrative that I heard, and it was more than fair, it was risk versus reward. So I was like, why would you not put Yarde in a Joe Smith Jr. fight? Why would you not put Yarde in an Alvarez fight? Why would you not put Yarde in a Jesse Hart fight? And they looked at it like, why would I do that when I can make more money fighting Buatsi, and it's probably for less risk? And to me, you're looking at the short game. You're not looking at the long game. Because to me, he can fight Buatsi and win. But if he goes and steps up and fights a Bivol, if he goes up and fights a Beterbiev, if he's getting knocked out again, that's my problem. You're not teaching these guys enough. You're not putting them in enough, because this is the thing. Yeah, I feel like I'm the only one in England who knows anything about boxing. I remember last year I watched Joshua Buatsi, and they were like, "Oh, Joshua Buatsi's ready for a world title fight," and I'm like, "What are you watching? He's nowhere near ready for a world title." And he fought last weekend, and he proved to me why he wasn't ready for a world title. The same reason I said, and I said it to Will. I wish Will was on the live right now. I said to Will, this guy's not good enough defensively, and we've seen why he's not ready for a world title fight. A lot of these guys are being thrown into the deep end, but they haven't had enough acid tests. They haven't fought enough B-level fighters. Because that's what it's about. Fighting the B-level fighters before you get to A-level. They fight C and D level, and all of a sudden think they're ready for A-level. And that's the problem.
Yeah. I heard everything you said. You was cracking just a little bit. So what's going on? Say what's up, G5. What's going on with you, player? We still waiting for our guest, Will Stokes, to get in the building.
Bro, I'm about to change from Wi-Fi to my data. So if I crack out, I'll be back in.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, just to touch on what Shane said. There's a big difference between agendas. A fighter's agenda versus a manager's agenda versus a promoter's agenda. If everybody's not on the same page, you're gonna get a product that's not finalized. You understand what I'm saying? Like, managers and promoters, they're looking at the long game, but they're looking at the long game from a money perspective. Like, they're not saying, okay, well, we're not gonna fight them at all. They're gonna say, no, we're gonna fight them later on when it makes more money sense. That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
But a lot of times the
but
money
this
don't.
this
The
this
money. Mm-hmm.
but it's about training. So to me, it's about, and again, yeah, I look at the fighters in Britain, and I don't rate much of the fighters, but I feel like a lot of these fighters aren't being given a good enough chance because they're not getting the right training. Let's be honest, there is no elite trainers in Britain. There is no elite trainers. You
No,
know,
it's
you
not.
get these Eastern European fighters who are from Eastern Europe. They will travel to America, even though they don't speak English, to train with American trainers because American trainers are really good. You get British fighters who leave Britain to train with American trainers. You don't ever see it the other way around. You don't ever see it where fighters are coming to England to train because
Right.
they know that the level of fighters aren't good enough here. And you look at the likes of even the War, for example, talented fighter, but he still makes basic mistakes, still has poor footwork, he's still a very hittable fighter. So you look at all of these guys and you're looking at it like these guys aren't being prepped. Not only is he not being trained properly, but for his whole entire career, he's been fighting guys who's just intimidated and he's just rolling over. The one time he fought someone who was willing to hit back, he almost got knocked out or knocked down. So to me, you got to put these guys in enough acid tests early so they're learning their game. That's the most important thing, but that's not what these British promoters and British matchmakers and managers want. They just want them in exciting fights. But that's why you don't ever see British elite fighters. That's why you look at you look at Tiafimo or Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. They had those fights on the way up. Whereas British fighters don't get those fights on the way up. They fight domestic fighters and all of a sudden they're ready for world level. Oops, they lost. That's what happens.
Right. We got Lawrence Williams in the building, man. What's up to Lawrence Williams?
What's up?
Said
What's
what's
good?
good. You want to read that comment?
He said Joe Diaz trained the whole Uzbekistan amateur team in California. Facts. And Uzbekistan won, what is it, 4 gold medals in the last Olympics. They won 4 gold medals in the last Olympics. They had people like Abdukokorov, who's Errol Spence mandatory. He didn't even make the Olympic team, bro. That's the difference. That is the level that is being set. You had, what's it called? Daniel Yalusinov, who won a gold medal. He just signed with Eddie Hearn. These guys this is what I'm talking about, bro. You got fighters like Majamov coming from the Uzbekistan team, but they're training. They don't speak English, but they're training with American and Mexican trainers. You got Teddy Atlas. He trained Povetkin and Vozic. Neither of them speak English, but they wanted the best trainer. You have people like Virgil Hunter training Amir Khan, Tyson Fury, who's our best fighter. He went to America to train because he knows British trainers ain't good enough. You have who else is out there? Mark Ramsey, who's from Canada, he's training Beterbiev. These guys aren't training in England. Derevianchenko's with Andre Rose. So it's just proof in the pudding, bro.
Yeah. Lawrence, that was a great point. He also said Josh Taylor made his pro debut in the States. Facts. Yeah, facts.
But he paid his dues though. Josh Taylor paid his dues.
Yeah. And the thing is, he said he made his pro debut in the States.
Yeah, he made it, but that's my point. Like that's what I'm saying. He's paying his dues because if you look at pro grade, there's been a gradual step to world level. He didn't just fight domestic level fighters and then fight world level before he fought pro grade. You could actually see the steps up. You look at Anthony Yarde, for example. He fought domestic level, then boom, he's at world level. There was no stages for him, and that's the problem. It's the same thing with Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Lawrence, great points, man. I was on the live with Lawrence and Stay Ready Boxing last night. Big guy, Stay Ready Boxing too, man. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? But
is it me that's cracking? Is it you that's cracking? One of us are cracking.
Am I cracking now?
Yeah, like your phone is freezing. Someone tell us if it's Jeff that's cracking or it's me, because it could be me. I'm in a place that I don't normally do lives. That's why I'm actually not even at my house.
I'm in a place where I'm usually not at either. But those are great points. Those are great.
Now you're good. Now you're good. Good.
Those are great points. Like these British fighters, they need to come to the States. And when I say come to the States, I don't mean go to the Mayweather gym. I like the States is not the Mayweather gym. Like the Mayweather gym, like to be honest with you, the Mayweather gym really not teaching people when it comes to sparring. Like in the Mayweather gym, they spar to go to war. Like they don't learn shit like sparring. Lawrence, put a yes or no in the comment section if you think guys are actually learning sparring in the Mayweather gym. Like
But
they,
even
they
but you
build
know
your
what though?
grit and your toughness,
As much as
not your skills.
as much as I'm against Mayweather, as much as I agree with you, but even fighters who go to the Mayweather gym, whilst I know you're not going to learn there, at least it's showing a level of intent that you want to learn something new. You see my point? At least you
That's
want to learn something new.
that's
You
true.
staying
That's
in
true.
Britain ain't going to do anything. Like
Right.
these British trainers aren't good enough, and it's proof in the pudding. When was the last? I got a question for you, Jeff. Yeah, I got a question for you, and it's a rhetorical question. When was the last elite fighter that wasn't from Britain decided to come to train with a British trainer? There isn't any. There isn't
No.
any. There is none. There is zero.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. And with the whole Mayweather gym thing, yes, going to the Mayweather gym shows that you want to learn, but you actually got to learn when you get in there.
Yeah.
And my whole point is that these guys don't learn. You learn in sparring. Like you learn in sparring. Like you can practice situational things in a sparring session. You don't ever see that in a Mayweather sparring session. Like I know several people that be in the Mayweather gym and they all say the same thing. Like, no, like it's war when you get in the ring. Like it's war. And people laying bets and stuff on the side. Like it's not, yes, it's better than the British environment, but you're not learning. Like you want to go learn something, go see Virgil Hunter or something like that. Somebody that's gonna teach you situational boxing. And that's what it's all about.
Go to Big Bear and learn with what's his name, Abel Sanchez or something like that.
Yeah, you can go Abel Sanchez. It's a bunch of guys that you can go to and actually learn something. You know what I mean? But it's a great point, like you said. Like they come to the U.S. to get right. They come to the U.S. to get right, and until you come to the U.S. and I'm talking a whole training camp, and
No,
a
but
whole fight in the U.S.
I'm talking about employing US trainers. I'm not even
Yeah,
talking about training. I'm talking about employing US trainers because, bro, we need to break the cycle that's here because as I've just laid off, I can name you 10 fighters right now off the dome that whenever they stepped up to elite level, they failed. I can only name you one British fighter in the last 5 years who stepped up to elite level and won, and that's Fury.
run,
Everybody
run,
else,
run some
go on.
names down, Shane. Run some names down.
Okay,
Run them down.
Liam Smith, when he stepped up to elite level against Canelo, he got knocked out. When Yard stepped up to elite level, he got knocked out. When Collar stepped up to elite level, he got knocked out. When Luke Campbell stepped up to elite level, he lost. When Tony Bellew stepped up to elite level, he got knocked out twice. When Callum Johnson stepped up to elite level, he got knocked out. When who's that guy that fights at
Josh Taylor. I mean,
Josh Taylor.
Josh
That
Taylor.
wasn't
He had
even
a draw. He had a draw.
that wasn't even an elite level, and he drew. That wasn't even an elite level when he drew. That's
Yeah,
my point. He wasn't
yeah,
even elite level. Ricky Burns, when he stepped up, he lost. He got knocked out. Charlie Edwards, when he stepped up to elite level, he got knocked out. That's my point, bro. That's my point. That's like 7 fighters deep right there, bro. 7 fighters
yeah,
deep off the dome. I'm not even. There's no box trick, nothing. That's off the dome, bro.
yeah. And the thing is, with all of those names, British fans still get mad that U.S. fans don't give the British fighters the respect that they feel like they deserve. And it's not no
Facts, bro.
disrespect. It's not no disrespect. They take it as disrespect. We look at it like U.S. and I'm speaking we as in U.S. Like we
Yeah.
look at it like, okay, unless you stepped up to the U.S. level, like you got to prove yourself here.
You gotta
It's
pay
not the
your
other way
dues, bro.
around.
You gotta pay your dues. It's like Ricky Hatton, bro. Ricky Hatton is the same thing. Look at Ricky Hatton. Like Ricky Hatton, all of this hype around Ricky Hatton, he stepped up twice and got knocked out twice. So where's the hype? There's no hype, bro. To me, you got a lot of these guys who's fought British level fighters. Like you look at Callum Smith right now, yeah. His biggest wins are Rocky Fielding and what's his
That's his
name?
biggest win, John Ryder.
No, not John Ryder. Oh right, George Groves. Yeah,
Groves,
George
I forgot
Groves.
about Groves. I
Yeah,
forgot about
he fought
Groves.
Groves, but another British level fighter, bro. He's another fighter who's another fighter. George Groves is another fighter who's fought at world level and got stopped. He fought Buddy Jack and lost. Groves fought Carl Froch and lost. Carl Froch is another fighter who stepped up to elite level and lost. He lost to Kesler. He
George,
lost to Ward. So that's my
Lawrence
point.
Williams said. George Groves too. That's also a good point.
Yeah, bro.
Groves is another fighter.
All these guys have fought each other and they've just beaten each other, and all of a sudden they're ready for world level. It's like Callum Johnson. He fought Frank Buglioni, and he stopped Buglioni. All of a sudden he's ready for Beterbiev, and then he gets knocked out. That's my point. Like, how is that even fair for just Callum Johnson? How is that even fair for him? Like, that's not fair. How is a Buglioni a good enough step up for Beterbiev? Of course it's not. Of course it ain't. But that's why he
Right.
gets knocked out. And all of these guys go the same way. All of these
And
guys go the same way.
Lawrence Williams gave you some love. He said, "Shane, that's dope, straight off the dome." That's how we
Love,
do
you know
over
how it
here, man.
goes. That's how we do it.
Hey, Lawrence, he only 20. He only 20 years
Two,
old, man. He's 22.
20,
He's 22
22.
years
I
old,
just
yo.
turned 22. I just
He
turned
just turned
22.
22. He's a young pup. You know what I'm saying? We got Pigeon Cowdenbeth in the. I've never. He gotta be new.
Yeah,
Pigeon
you gotta be new.
Cowdenbeth
Hit the
has to
subscribe
be
button,
new.
bro.
Subscribe to the channel. Pigeon also said, "I'll go live, bro, if on." Are you following us on Instagram? If you're following us on Instagram, matter of fact, reach out to us on Instagram. Because I want to know a little bit of your background, like where you from and all of that. I'll definitely put you on a live. I want to get you in the right situation, you know, a
Especially,
little bit.
definitely. And if you don't reach us out to on Instagram, just put your Instagram name in the comments of this video, and then we'll just add you after.
Oh, he said I'm new, bro. Birmingham. Okay.
Oh, hit the subscribe button firstly.
Hit
Hit the
the
subscribe.
subscribe button.
And
Subscribe
if you're
first.
serious, just jump on. If you're serious, we'll chat to you on Instagram and then we'll
Put your
come through.
Instagram in the chat. Put your Instagram in the chat. Shane, if he puts it down, write it down for me.
Yeah. Now I
Screenshot
just
it or something.
screenshot it or something.
Screenshot it. Lawrence Williams said, "Happy belated salute on unboxing knowledge."
Salute.
And Lawrence, this kid's a monster. This kid's a monster, man. Like it's one of those things. Lawrence is kind of like he has my boxing brain, but he's over 10 years younger than me. Like, you know
Bro,
what I'm
the
saying?
craziest
So
thing
it's
is
crazy.
me and Jeff are exactly the same. Like exactly the same. We think like we watch a fight and we will give the exact same post-fight reaction. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
well, we scored. I would say it might be maybe 2 or 3 fights that we scored differently. You know what I mean?
But
Um,
what people need to realize is the reason why I even started watching Jeff's channel and the reason why we even built a relationship is because our minds were such alike. Like I saw videos and he was just saying the same thing that I was thinking, and I was like, no, this guy knows his stuff. So it was so much different to just watching a guy and just liking his videos. He's actually there was so much similarities. But in terms of and bro, it's not even just British boxing I can do this for. Like I can do this for like I'm a very well-rounded fighter. Like
yeah,
me and Jeff hardly ever talk about British fighters. We mainly talk
we
about
don't.
Mexican or Eastern European. Like for example, the other day we had an Eastern European in the live. Jeff was talking more than the guy from Latvia, and the guy from
Yeah,
Latvia said to Jeff that, "Oh, I don't know as much about boxing," and we're talking about Latvian boxing. And
we're
he
talking
still
about
said Jeff
Latvia
knew more,
boxing, and I was
and he
talking more
still said Jeff
Latvia
knew
boxing than
more.
he was. Yeah, for sure.
So
Hold on. Pigeon says, "Sweet, bro. Appreciate that." He said he
love.
subbed. He said I'll email it. Okay. If you're gonna email it, it's two. I have 2 different emails. One is info@g5jeftv.com. That's info@g5jeftv.com. Or g5jeftv@gmail.com. Again, that's g5jeftv@gmail.com. Lawrence Williams, he said, "What's your IG so I can follow?" Shane is I underscore am
Underscore
Shane. Am Shane
one.
1. the number one. I_am Shane number one. Lawrence, I'm Box with G5 Jeff TV. We already following each other on Twitter. For people that's gonna be listening to this, Lawrence Williams got a really, really good channel going on, man. He definitely be dropping his knowledge, and he's unbiased. Like, he's unbiased. So anybody that's not biased,
I
go
watched the
subscribe.
one that you was on 2 days ago. You know the one where you done on the Wilder joint. I watched that one the other day. That one was dope.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, you make great points, man. Like, and I just don't want for the British fans to think that US fans are being disrespectful when if they downplay a British fighter. Like, we just want to see them
Proven.
Like, we just want to see them here, and we want to them proven. And the only way they're gonna be proven is unless they come here.
It's exactly like, bro. I'll give you an example. Like Callum Smith, for example, he's got 2 belts. He's a Ring Magazine champion. But he could have fought Zerdo Ramirez. He didn't fight Zerdo Ramirez. So it's like the American fans still have question marks around his name. You look at Billy Joe Saunders. He could have fought Andrade. He didn't fight Andrade. So there's question marks around his name. There's so many fighters that you can literally go down the ranks. Like Kell Brook, for example, another fighter who stepped up and lost. But that's just my point. Like, you just keep going down the ranks, you know. There's so many. Like, even people love to go on.
You know what? What the thing is with Kell Brook, he got the Sean Porter fight.
Yeah, he did.
He got the Sean Porter fight. Hold on a second. The man of the hour has shown up.
Hey,
what's up?
Will is in the building. What's going on, Will? What's up with you, bro?
Nothing much. What you got? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I've been late, guys. I'm so sorry I've been late.
My dad, I'm late on time, and I run the shit, so don't worry about it. What's going on?
So, can I say something before for everybody watching? This is why you want to be on Jeff's channel. Will was in the comment section, and because he was in the comment section, we just got him on a live. That's how Jeff's channels run. Like, it's not anybody can come on a live. Go on, Jeff.
Yeah,
take it.
For sure. Yeah, we got Will Stokes in the building. Will Stokes, subscriber.
What's up, Will?
Always in the chat. Always in the lives. And how we do over here, I'm like, you in the lives and you in the chat, you get on the show. That's how it goes.
Facts.
And,
Facts. Anyone.
This is anyone. And this is living proof of it. So we appreciate Will spending time with us. But we gonna let Shane take over from here. Go ahead, do your thing, Shane.
Okay, so before I even come on, like, I wanted to ask Will, firstly, before we even get into the boxing, because we're gonna deal with the boxing talk, obviously. But how did you even first hear about Jeff's channel? What was the first way you even heard about it?
Do you know what it is? Do you remember when you did the live stream for the Carlos Takam and Jerry Forrest fight? And you had it like in the mirror. So I was trying to find that fight and I couldn't find a stream for it. And I was like, I always check YouTube as like a last resort for streams, you know. And I found yours, and that was the first one, was when I was just watching that in the mirror. So
boy, that mirror do it every time, man. that mirror is legendary, man. That mirror is legendary for sure. But we talking about Joshua Buatsi and Anthony Yarde, and we gonna let Shane take over as far as the narrative and the topic for the day. So Shane, go ahead and cook up.
So Will, what's your personal opinion on Buatsi and Yarde? Personally, what's your personal opinion on both fighters?
Well, I just want to say first that my knowledge on light heavyweight division is not the best. Okay, I just want to say that first. So I feel like it's not bad, but I just want to say that first. So in case you guys mention stuff, I'm like, I don't know what you mean. That might happen.
Okay? No, bro, you're all good.
Hold on. Hold on. I got this. Hold on. Will, that's one of the realest statements you can make on this channel. Because a lot of the channels, you might say something like that, you might get blocked. They may ignore it. You understand what I'm saying? Am I lying? You know what I'm saying?
You might straight facts.
Yeah, like here, if it's something you don't know, we rather you mention it so we can educate. And then if it's something that you know that we don't, we want to hear it. So there's no egos over here. So, you know, you talk your talk, And you know, whenever you don't know something, just mention it. I may know it, Shane may know it. So we're here for entertainment, but we're also here to learn and educate and all of that. This is one of them type of platforms. So you know, don't feel nervous at all. Like just talk your talk. The way you usually talk boxing, talk. Shane, go ahead.
So yeah, what's your opinion? Just removing the light heavyweight division. I know you've seen both of them fight. So what's your opinion on both Buatsi and Yarde? Who do you feel has the higher seed, and who do you think's a better fighter? And like, yeah, what's your opinions on both of them?
I'm a fan of both of them. I would say that I think, like, if there was a fight, I'd definitely pick Yarde to win. I would say that it's weird. I feel like the fight between those two is really similar in a lot of ways to the fight between Dubois and Joyce at heavyweight, because I feel like, aside from the age difference between Dubois and Joyce, like, because obviously Buatsi has the, like, way more amateur experience than Yarde does, just like how Joyce has way more amateur experience.
Right, correct.
And but the thing is that I know in Dubois Joyce, you know, Dubois is the favorite to win, despite the fact that he has way less experience. And then in Yarde Buatsi, I would say that Yarde is the favorite to win for most people. But then he also, like, he had 12 amateur fights, you know.
Correct.
And then Buatsi bronze gold medalist.
But bro, this is I have an analogy that I use all the time. So give me time to explain it. So you gave two very good examples, and I look at it and I go, Yarde and Buatsi are very similar in the sense that Yarde and Buatsi and Joe Joyce and Dubois are very similar in the sense that the favorite is the one who has less experience. And I feel like experience isn't always good experience. So for example, if you're in ninth grade and I'm in 7th grade, you fail your test, I pass my test, I'm in 8th grade, you're in 9th grade. If you fail again and I pass, you're in 9th grade, I'm in 9th grade. So we're in the same grade now.
Right.
So you have more experience at that grade. Does that mean I should copy from your paper? Of course not, because I'm doing it right, you're doing it wrong. So I look at it and I'm like, Joe Joyce has more years to get rid of bad habits. And so does Buatsi, because he's been boxing for longer. Both fighters have been boxing for longer. They have a longer time to get rid of bad habits. And that's my opinion on that. But what do you think? Like, one of my problems with both Buatsi and the boys, their lack of defensive, like they don't have much defensive abilities. What do you think about that? And I know we spoke about this privately, but what's your opinion on that?
I mean, I feel like, yeah, with that fight the other day, Buatsi definitely, yeah, he looked really stiff and definitely did not look like he had. I mean, I don't know if it was, I'm not sure if it was definitely like not so much a lack of defense specifically, but I feel like it's a lack of head movement. You know,
but head movement is a form of defense. That's why I brought that up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, like, in terms of, I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe it's because what was he out for 400 days or something since his last fight? Yeah. So, you know, I think a lot of it could be down to just a lot of ring rust. But then again, I imagine that Chalic, is that his name, Chalic?
Yeah, Chalic.
Yeah, I imagine that he also must have had a bunch of, you know, I don't know when his last fight was, but
Will, wasn't it something that we spoke about, or I spoke about before the fight? Didn't I say that I wasn't a fan of the Buatsi's defense? And it's just, to me, it's just now coming to the forefront for something that I could see already from the beginning. And Jeff, this is something that me and you do all the time. This is something that me and you do. Like, we always see a fighter, we see the holes in them, and then 5-6 fights later, people see the holes that they see.
Yeah, let me get on that real quick. When you face a bunch of guys that's not willing to throw shots and they're in defense mode all the time, did it cut?
Will, are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
That's on Jeff, because Jeff, you're frozen, bro.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah.
Like, you're coming in and out.
Okay, give me a sec. Go ahead, Shane. Go ahead.
No, you're good now. You're good now. You're fine.
I'm good now. Okay,
yeah.
My bad, fellas. the thing that's crazy is when you face a bunch of guys that are not willing to throw and they're all defensive, you don't have too many opportunities to work on your defense. And that's the level of competition that you're fighting. So you can be 15-0, 20-0, 19, 20 knockouts, but if you face everybody that's been scared, you don't know how to. It's kind of like F.A. Ajagba. Take F.A. Ajagba. He's a person that hasn't had a chance to work on defense because everybody's scared of him. Take Wilder, for instance. He done had 40-something fights. And, he's just, his experience means nothing.
Facts.
Experience means nothing because technically he's never improved because he lands the right hand and he goes home.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
experience is not everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, I think, power is definitely something which, when you have power, you don't need as much skill. You know what I mean? And really, that goes for any level you're at. Even at the highest level, you don't need as much skill if you have power. You know what I mean? So, and I think that, Wilder's a great example, just knocking everybody out. And he didn't step up until like his 34th fight or 35th fight, whatever it was.
I mean, firstly, salute to Hitman Sticks. Salute.
Big shout out.
Is he new, Jeff?
I've never seen him. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media. Yeah, I've never seen Hitman Sticks before. So big shout out.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Just to piggyback on what Will just said, I feel like, we're gonna move more into Yarde and Buatsi, what they should do moving forward and what they should do in terms of like their career in itself. But before I even do that, I was gonna say the biggest issue, and this is a issue point blank period around the whole of the British boxing, is that when you look at the likes of Jerome Boots Ennis, when you look at the likes of Errol Spence, when you look at Terence Crawford when he was on the way up, when you look at Devin Haney, when you look at Shakur Stevenson, okay, maybe they fight bums as well. Everybody fights bums on their way up. But guess what? It's the mentality that they have. They have a certain mentality that I'm still going to have a certain amount of respect for what the other guy's throwing, even if he's a bum. You see my point? Like, I've seen Jerome Boots Ennis show defensive skills against fighters that have no power, but it's just because he doesn't want to get hit. You start as you mean to go on. And you see a lot of these guys, British fighters, they have a brilliant start. Like, Jeff will tell you, Will, yeah, back in the early 2000s and like in the last 10 years, he's probably heard 50 top British prospects and they've all fallen short because they all start very well because they knock guys out very entertainingly, everything's all good. And as soon as they step up, they haven't had the prep. And that's the problem. That is the biggest problem. They don't start as they mean to go on. So the other day, someone told me maybe when Buatsi and Dubois fight someone who's a bit more aggressive, they're going to start to be a bit more defensive. You can't start in the middle of the fight. You have to start from the beginning. You have to know how to do it. And that's the problem. You need to, like, I watch Boots all the time. I watch Shakur all the time. And those guys have a responsible attitude to defense, even if they're fighting a bum. And that's the problem.
Yeah, bad opponents build bad habits. And that's what it is. And you have to be, as a fighter, it's up to you whether you build the bad habits or you don't build bad habits. And it seems like with British fighters, they're more susceptible to building bad habits. But we're gonna keep it moving as far as Anthony Yarde. Will, question for you. Anthony Yarde, what would you like to see him do going forward? I know he just fought not that long ago. What would you like to see from him going forward?
I was at that fight as well, just to say.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was watching some like seconds out interviews for that fight, and I was like, "What the heck? That's Shane." Yeah, I was because I didn't know you did stuff like that, so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, wait. So are you saying like who would I like to see him matched up against? Or
yes,
yes.
I mean, I feel like Yarde would be. I don't know. He definitely needs to be fighting guys higher than the level of his previous fight. I have to say though, I don't think he looked the best in that previous fight, but despite that, I feel like, he's way above the level of Expellman.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
everybody
For
knows
sure.
that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe some kind of some guys are in between world level and the level that he's just fought at. Like maybe, I don't know, like a Sullivan Barrera kind of.
Good name.
Right?
Good
Good
name.
name.
Good
This guy said he don't
name.
know about. He don't know
Good
about.
name. He talking about he don't
That's
know
a
nothing
good
about
name.
boxing,
That's a
man.
good name,
Come
bro.
on,
That's
good
a good name.
fucking name, man. Big shout out to Will.
But,
Hold on, Shane. We got to keep the roller coaster going, man. Will, Buatsi. Who would you like to see Buatsi fight next?
I think they spoke about the Callum Johnson fight after his win the other day. I feel like that. I don't know. I'm a fan of Buatsi, but I would pick Johnson to win that one. Well,
I
I
would
don't
as
know.
well.
I mean,
I would as well, bro. But
yeah,
Jeff, you know why I would as well, Jeff? Is because one thing Callum Johnson has is power. You can't be so defensively responsible against Callum Johnson. He will knock you out. That's the difference. He will knock you out. So we saw
Is that a
him drop
50-50
Viterbi.
fight? Is that a 50-50 fight?
50, yeah, 50-50.
yeah,
50-50.
yeah.
50-50?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Hold on. Comments real quick.
I was gonna do that.
Hitman Sticks says salute. I'm new. I'm subscribed already. Perfect. Lawrence says Lyden Arthur is a decent fight for Yard next.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
What do you mean?
The reason why
think he's above that level?
It's not above the level, bro. The reason why I'm saying that, it's another British level fighter. I want Yard to get out of this concept where he has to fight British fighters. I want to see Yard fight as a Sullivan Barrera, Jesse Hart, or Joe Smith Jr., someone who's going to prepare him. Lyndon Arthur's not going to prepare him for a Viterbi. He's not going to prepare him for a Bivol. So that's my point. I would love to see him fight someone who's going to actually, because we saw him fight British level fighters and he lost to Kovalev. So obviously that's not the route to go. He has to fight fighters who's actually going to prepare him. But the problem is, when I spoke to the guys, sorry to cut you off, Jeff, when I spoke to the guys at BT, and this is the biggest thing, and I said this to him on camera. I said this to Yard, and I said it to Tunde Ajayi on camera. I said, have you guys thought about signing with ESPN? Because obviously BT Sports want you to fight domestic level fighters. But really and truly, for you to become a world champion and a world beater, you have to be fighting guys abroad. And that's what I want to see, him fight guys abroad. Guys like Joe Smith. Guys like, because they're going to be the ones who teach you. They're going to be the ones who you learn off.
Yeah, and it's no disrespect to Arthur. It's no disrespect to Arthur at all, but it's just he's another domestic level fight, and we want to see Buatsi get out of that. Slurvin is in the building. Hello, gents. Slurvin, you got to be the next up to get into a live. Sure. Lawrence, Buatsi versus Felix Valera. Callum is a live dog versus Buatsi. What you think about that, Shane?
No, the Felix Valera fight. The reason why I wouldn't do it is because whilst Felix Valera is a good enough name, he's still an unknown quantity to that level. To me, I want to see him fight someone who is gonna test him, but is not too unknown, because you want to get a win where personally it's going to give you confidence. A Felix Valera fight is like, well, you won, but how good was Felix Valera in the first place? Does that make sense, Jeff?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? That makes perfect sense. I think these guys are, I would say they're at least another 3 to 4 fights away, quality fights, for them to be on like world title level. With Shane, would you agree with that?
Facts, because you look at I know, Will, you probably do know these fighters, but you look at the fighters at light heavyweight, you look at the Zerdo Ramirez, you look at Joe Smith, you look at our leader Alvarez, you look at, I'm not even talking about Bivol and Viterbi. I'm looking at the guys underneath those guys.
Sean Pascal.
Pascal, you look at Marcus Brown, you look at Badou Jack, you look at these fighters and you go, how much of them do you actually pick Buatsi and Yard to beat? I wouldn't pick, I'm not gonna lie, even if they win, I mean, they wouldn't be favorites against none of those guys. What do you think about that, Will?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I just want to say really quick regarding the Lyndon Arthur thing. I think I mean, I don't think any of you guys would disagree that if they did do the Yarde fight, which I think they will, that would be the best win on Yarde's still.
Yeah, it would be the best win on Yarde's record. But okay, I'll give you an example, Will. I'll give you a good example. A good example. The best win on Tony Belly's record was David Haye. It still didn't make him prepared for Usyk. Does that make sense? It still didn't make him prepared for Usyk.
But what I mean is, like, you know, Yarde, his fights have been here, you know, and what he did was he went like this, and then he went like this, you know, and then he fought that. I don't know if you guys know about that fight in Spain that he had.
In Spain, yeah.
Dude was like 4-48. He was like 4-48. Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Bro, Jeff's got the brain of a.
I'm on it. He fought a guy 4-48 with 3 draws. I did a video on it before the fight happened because I thought I thought it was a typo, and I found out it was for real. I did a video.
Yeah, I mean, and he went 2 rounds, I think, as well.
He went 2 rounds. He went 2 rounds. He knocked him out in the second round, but I mean, I would have hated to bet money on a first round knockout in that fight. I'd have been pissed. Pissed.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Lawrence Williams said Salamov. Now, for those who don't know, Salamov's about to fight for a vacant title against Vlasov. If he beats Vlasov, he fights for a vacant title against Joe Smith Jr.
Yeah.
Now, I said this to the guys at BT Sports. The guy at BT Sports used to work for the Zone. I said it to him, and they still didn't want to take that fight because it didn't make money sense. And that's why I said he needs to leave BT, because the guys at BT, they just want him to fight guys that make money. They don't want to fight guys that's actually going to improve his career, because it's not even the fact that the fight's a difficult fight. It's just a fight that's going to position him to fight for a world title. It's a fight that's going to position him where he's going to learn enough about himself. And that's what these guys don't have. They don't have enough boxing guys around them. They have too much guys who focus on money. And that's the problem.
And big shout out to Lawrence Williams, too, for dropping names his damn self in the chat.
Facts.
Everybody in here dropping heavy names in the chat. But I think this was a great conversation. I think Buatsi and Yarde are on the same level in terms of how many fights they need to actually get to world title.
I think Buatsi needs fights, but I also think Buatsi needs to fire his trainer as well. You've been with him from the amateurs to the pros, and you still don't have head movement. I think it's time to leave.
Well, you know what? Let me add this. If he's been with him for that long and he doesn't have head movement, is it the trainer or is it him just not willing to give head movement?
Well, you listen to the instructions. You listen to the instructions, and the instructions was use your feet. So that doesn't sound like someone who's teaching head movement. It sounds like someone who's trying to tell him to get out of range. That's not head movement. There's a big difference, bro. If my phone dies, I'll
we getting ready to end the live now. Will, we want to thank you for coming on. This will not be the last time. We have you.
Give us the last word. Give him the last word.
Will, get the last word and good brother.
About the topic?
Yeah, the topic on everything. On everything.
Yeah, what's your final thoughts?
Something I was gonna say is that, like, I think that I definitely think that Yarde is the best advisor right now. And another thing I would say about him is that I think that he is. I mean, you look at him compared to Buatsi physically, like, he is the way bigger guy. Like, I feel like, you know, Buatsi probably walks around. I don't even know. He might even walk around at 175 kind of thing, you know. But then I would say that Yarde is walking around at, I don't know, like, close to 200.
Yarde's last fight wasn't even at 175. It was at 180. Yeah. It was at catchweight. Yeah. That's how big he is.
Yeah.
Probably so walks around at like 210.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I think that right now, I don't know. I guess I would say that Yarde is the more naturally talented because of where he is with the lack, you know, with the difference in experience. Correct. But, and also when he stepped up against Kovalev, like, there's no way he should have been anywhere close to being able to win that fight with the experience that he had. You know what I mean? Like, on paper, you would think it's a complete mismatch, but then you know, he almost did it. So I think that like I don't know. I think that in the future, Buatsi might have the potential to overtake Yarde in his career, like as it progresses. But yeah, I don't know. I would say for now, Yarde is definitely the high one up there, because I think in the Ring magazine, he's actually ranked in the top 10 now. Yarde is. So
Yeah, he's ranked in the top 10 for sure.
I'm literally gonna check out right now because my phone's about to die.
All right.
But thanks,
Shane
Will,
is
for
up
that. I'll
out of
probably
here.
speak to you on Insta
Hey,
as well.
Will, we appreciate you jumping on, man. We really appreciate you. We're gonna get you on another live. Shane, as always, man, you family. This is G5 Jeff TV. Hey, Will, we are out. Appreciate you, Will.
cool. Take care.
All right, man. You too, man.